Hello, my dear students. Here Pranalanjar once again coming with the topic on Cofferdams, which is the topic of Unit 5 of subject Foundation Engineering. Okay, now Cofferdam. Cofferdam is nothing but it is the temporary structure designed to keep water out of the excavation, okay, or soil out of the excavation, which is required for the construction of bridge piers or other structures which are inside the waters, okay, which we will have to build inside the water, okay. That is called as a cover dam, because it is not possible to construct with water, okay. We will require the dry site. That's why that cover dam has to be used, but it is a temporary. Now how they have been constructed? They have been constructed by means of sheet piling. That sheet piling has to be driven around this work site and seal it by the concrete, by means of concrete at the bottom, so that the from the bottom water cannot be coming out or cannot be seeping at there, okay. After construction of that water sealing, whatever the water has been present out there, that has to be pumped out, okay. Now basically cover dams means there is a word, a cover, that is a box, okay. Cover, that means nothing but a box type, okay. So you can see the picture. In the picture there is two vertical lines. These are nothing but your sheet piles, okay. Whatever the horizontal members, these are the bracings, okay. And beside of that sheets, that is a water. It is surrounded with the water, okay. Now you can see the 3D diagram also. Beside of these two sheet piles, you can see the water. Below of that you can see the soil, softer soil. At the bottom there is a concrete ceiling, okay. This is the typical schematic diagram of your cover dam, okay. Now cover dam is a basically facilitated structure in a dry condition, because they will have to construct in a dry condition inside the soil, okay. Cover dam involves the interaction of the structure, soil as well as water, okay. The imposed load includes the hydrostatic pressure, because these are inside the water. That's why the hydrostatic pressure will be exert on it. On beside of that, the waves are also coming out there, okay. In terms of marine condition, there will be the waves. So to carry out these, to take these pressures or these forces from the waves, they will have to design accordingly, okay. In the severe weather conditions, the deformation of cover dam element may happens, okay. So that's why the design dimensions has to be designed according to carry out or to resist that stresses, okay, with respect to that project, okay. Now construction equipments does also have some weights. That means dead load or live load. Dead load is nothing but live load. Construction equipments are live for a while. After the construction it will be not at there. That means these are the live, that means imposed load, that will have to be considered while the construction, okay, and during the installation. Now removal of cover dam must be planned and executed accordingly, because these are the temporary, not a permanent. In the chasms these sheet piles are permanent, but in the cover dams these are temporary. That's why the removal of this cover dam has to be planned and executed accordingly, okay. Now as the safety point of view, we will require the prompt safety, because the workers are working at there below the ground level and with surrounded water. So safety and hazardous conditions has to be observed, has to be manipulated and work accordingly. Okay. The provision of adequate access light and ventilation and attention to the safe practices should be at there. Okay, so ventilation and sufficient light should be at there, because without of that we cannot, or workers cannot be work at there. Okay, so this is the brief information about the cofferdams. Now, types of cofferdam. Now cofferdams are basically having generally 5 to 6 types. Okay, out of which first of all, that is braced cofferdam. You know the bracing system. Bracing is nothing but the support to the horizontal support to the structures. Okay, the box is braced inside the interior side of the box. Okay, these are generally 30 to 35 feet of depth. Okay, this bracing should have to be considered erected. So see the picture, you will see red are the bracings. These are the bracings to avoid the deformation of that cofferdam. Okay, again you can see the water surrounded cofferdam tubicle. Okay, now second is the earth type cofferdam. So what is earth type? It is consist of earthen embankment with a clay or core or vertical sheet. Piling enclosed the excavation. Okay, see in the figure there is a one pile at the center, either side, and either both side there will be the soil. Okay, earthen embankment with clay. Okay, so that is your earthen embankment, and this has been again one layer of stone will be there. Okay, so this is called earthen embankment. In picture you can see how the earthen embankment has been looks. Okay, in the village you can see at many places. Now timber creep. Timber creep is used for a wide excavation and rocky river bottom. Okay, and this is the formwork formed by the timber members, parts of timbers, and it must be properly designed to resist the lateral forces. Okay, so you can see the timbers. These are timber blocks, timber sails. Okay, which are in the first figure they are braced. Okay, in the second figure timber creeps you can see, and they have been supported by a rock filling. Okay, that is the timber creep. Now double walled silt pile, they are parallel, they are having two parallel lines of sheet piling. That means the doubled wall cofferdam. Okay, so you can see the picture, there is a one wall, and beside of that bracing, and with that bracing another wall is there. So these are the double wall. In between them there will be some material. Okay, so this is the double walled, some material or some any application if site requirement, as per the site requirement. In the second figure you can see the filling between two walls. Okay, now cellular cofferdams. In this case, the cofferdams must be stable for virtue of its own resistance. Okay, now this is having two types: circular cellular cofferdam and diaphragm type of cofferdam. Circular cellular cofferdam consists of circular cell and which are joined intermediately by arc type of cofferdams. Okay, and these cofferdams made by installed by sheet piles also. Okay, the segment arc are joined by a special T pile to main cells. Okay, the stability of such cell is much greater as compared with that of diaphragm type, and the circular cells are more expensive than the diaphragm type because the arc length is more. Okay, arc length is more rather than the straight line, that's why it is expensive. Okay, these required more sheets pile. Obviously if length is more, sheet requirement will be more. Okay, and greater skill setting the driving the piles, and skill is also required in greater times. The ability to resist lateral pressure due to the high head is limited. Okay, now you can see one circle is there, intermediate, alternate, and they are connected by two arcs. Okay, so these are intermediate arcs, circular. You can see the picture from the top. Okay, the Cofferdams lined. Okay, now the diaphragm type. These are same, but they have been joined by the one straight line of diaphragm. Okay, you can see the one straight line between two circular shape. There will be the separation of one straight wall. Okay, and again you can see the picture here. It is. Okay, so circular cofferdam consists of circular arcs on inner and outer side which are connected by straight diaphragm walls. Diaphragm wall is nothing but a concrete wall or whatever type of means, but this is a straight in portion, straight in shape. Okay, diaphragms are made by means of specially fabricated Y element because the connection is Y. You can see the Y. Okay, one advantage of diaphragm type is that is effective length of cofferdam may be increased easily by lengthening of diaphragm because it is a straight line, so effectively we can increase its length. Okay, it is not prefix with the dimension, that means circular. Okay, so that means we can increase the length. The necessary to have effective width of the cofferdam more than 21 meter, diaphragm type of cofferdam must be used. Okay, so it can be used with the 21 meter. Okay, now look at the picture. You can we have exact information about the cofferdam. Now sixth type, rockfill cofferdam. Rockfill cofferdam are the better than the earthen embankment. Okay, these are like a earthen embankment, but it has been fully filled by the rock, and that's why it is a pervious. And to become impervious, the membrane of soil is provided in the dam. Okay, the height of this dam is can be up to the 3 meter. Okay, the slope can be maintained at 1 is to 1.5 to 1 is to 1 is to 125 1.25. 1.25 should be there. Okay, the slope on the water side is pitched so as to protect the dam from the wave action. Okay, you can see the earthen rock fill cofferdam. Okay, there is a construction is ongoing and water has been, but you can see the water is also percolating from there. Okay, advantages of cofferdam: it allows the excavation and construction of structure in otherwise the poor environment. Poor environment in the sense, for the any construction, poor environment is beside the surrounding is water. That will be the poor environment. Okay. Now to avoid that water, we can do the we can construct the cofferdams. It provides the safe environment to the work. Okay, contractors typically have design responsibility, not a client. Contractors does have typical responsibility, design responsibility. Steel sheet pile are easily installed and removed. Material can typically be reused on the other projects. As we have discussed, it is a only temporary structure, so we can reuse it. Okay, now how it could be installed. The component site investigation sample and relevant testing should has to be carried out before the construction of cofferdams. Okay, soil, if you will have the soil information or whatever the site information, you can do it very accurately. The adequate design of all the stages of the construction has to be planned. Okay, setting out and installation of the piles. Okay, that is the installation procedures. Okay, now exactly what cofferdam components are there, as we have been discussed. Obviously there will be the one separator, that is a sheet piling. Then to support that separator there is a bracing frame. Okay, and to avoid the seeping there is a concrete cell. Okay, you can see the picture once again. How the cofferdams construction has to be carried out in sequential time. Okay, first of all, removal of soil. You can see the picture in the A. Okay, and soft sediments wherever on the wherever we want the site. Okay, and the level the area of cofferdam. Okay, next step is drive temporary support piles to working out. Okay, third step will be the temporary erect bracing of frame on the support piles. Okay, fourth step is set steel sheet pile starting at all four corners and meeting at the center of each. Okay, fifth step will be the drive sheet pile to the grid. Driving, that means insertion of the sheet piles. Next step will be sixth step will be block between bracing frames and sheets and provide the ties for sheet piles at the top as a necessary. Okay, bracing required obviously from top to the bottom wherever it is needed for the avoid deformation. Okay, now seventh step will be figure itself shows how it could be. Okay, now the seventh step will be excavation inside the grade or slightly below the grade while leaving the cofferdam full of water. Next, eighth step will be the drive bearing piles. You can see inclined lines are there, one straight vertical line is there, so there these are bearing piles in the figure. Okay, these are bearing piles. So place the drive bearing piles, then place, next step will be the place rock fill as a leveling and support course. 10th step is place trimmy concrete seal. You will have to place a concrete seal to avoid the seepage. Check blocking between bracing and sheets. Okay, next, whatever the water is present over there, you will have to pump it out, that means dewatering. Next step, after that, construct a new structure, whatever the structure you want to construct on that site for what you have been designed, or place that cofferdam. Then flood cofferdam, then remove sheet piles, then remove basins and backfills. That removing process is nothing but that is a temporary, we have already constructed a structure, that temporary structure we will have to remove. Okay, now hydrostatic, how the hydrostatic pressure has to be exerted, you can see in the figure. As you know, in both sides there may be the chances of water, so hydrostatic pressure could be created on the both side. Okay, so the net pressure from the outside and net pressure from the inside also at there, that there will be the triangular pressure. Now Kazan versus cofferdam, as we have been discussed earlier, box like Kazan is nothing but a box like structure built into a project. That means it will help, Kazan will help for carrying the load. It is a permanent structure, but in cofferdam, tube like is a temporary structure for the project. Okay, in Kazan, mean to permanently keep water away from the certain site. Okay, and in cofferdams designed to be temporary, reusable and water barrier. Okay, that is all thing about the cofferdam we have been discussed. Okay, I hope you have been enjoyed this lecture. Thank you very much, students.